Hey, how's it going, Adriana?
Going pretty well. How about you?
I'm good. I'm sorry about earlier. Had a bit of a.
Oh, no worries.
I just had a little bit of a. Oh, sorry about the door slamming. Sorry, I just had a bit of a software malfunction. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Fantastic. Just enjoying another beautiful day in Kansas City. So,
Uh,
are you excited about Friday and the record coming out?
oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's been a long time coming.
That's awesome. I'm awfully excited about it because I've been listening to this record. I've had the privilege of listening to it for the last, 4 or 5 days, and it's quite an amazing record. Adriana, you've got a very broad range, or just using different genres in one record, and I can hear just a general theme running throughout the record. Can you tell me a little bit about the storyline for the whole record as a whole?
Oh, sure thing. Also, I just want to tell you real quick, it's actually pronounced Adrienne. Like
Adrienne,
Rocky's
I'm sorry, my bad.
Oh, no, it's okay. I just wanted to let you know.
Okay.
But the theme of the record, the concept, it's the story, it's a journey of a lost soul through a Neo-Victorian underworld ruled by an ancient demon. And that's the sort of elevator speech version, I guess.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
So how did you meet the other guy? Tell me a little bit about how you met the other guys in the group.
Okay. So I met Jack in my first week at Berkeley in a bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
He was also attending and was in his, I believe, third semester.
Mm-hmm.
I met Chris through a mutual friend. I was just going to fill in for his band. He was only 14, I think, at the time, maybe 15. And I met Pete. Actually, Pete was an old friend of Jack's from an old band a long time ago. But I met Pete the first time when the old lineup of Seven Spires opened for Arch Enemy.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So, what kind of touring plan? Do you have any touring plans going on, or do you have any particular areas of the country or internationally? I know you just got back from Slovenia.
Yes, we just came back from Slovenia. We played Metal Days, and it was honestly the coolest shit ever.
Oh, that's great.
And yeah, for the rest of this year, we're aiming to tour through the United States, and then in 2018, we will look at Europe and beyond. But we can't announce anything yet because nothing is announced. So that's really all I can say at the moment.
That's awesome. So what got you into music?
Music has always been in my life for pretty much as long as I can remember. My father was a DJ in the 80s, and so even when I was a human larva, there was music playing in the house. And I would, before I could even walk, my parents would leave me on the floor with a keyboard, and so, I would sit there and, pretend I could play or whatever. So it's always been part of me.
Well, listening to the record, I got to tell you have a really beautiful singing voice. I mean, singing clean vocal, and then it goes to this nice rough edginess to, straight, extreme, brutal death growl, and it's wonderful the way you did that to express the emotion of some of what's going on lyrically and some of the words. Can you talk a little bit about that, and how was that challenging for you in composition, as well as pulling that off beautifully in the studio?
It's I guess not really a challenge. Actually, it comes naturally. I think as a singer, your biggest job is to tell a story as believably, is that a word?
Yes.
As convincingly as possible. And I think one thing that I try to tell my students, and when I talk about singing, is that you can use primal sounds to express emotions, and a lot of singers get so wrapped up in doing their like Mariah Carey runs and things like this that they don't think about the sounds that people make when they are feeling a certain way. Right. For example, people who are sad or who are on the verge of crying, their voice kind of does this trembling thing, and it begins to crack, like this kind of sound.
Right.
But to use that vocally while singing a really heartbroken part or like a very defeated part. For example, in one of the quiet parts in Burn, when this character is saying, "Deep in the ashes, would you bury me?" That's kind of a clean vocal example of using different vocal techniques to express emotions. But the screaming and like the extreme vocals comes from a much more like outwardly passionate and dark place, I think.
Well, that's cool. I've noticed there is a really an upswing and an interest, particularly in Europe, of symphonic metal, particularly those with a strong female lead, such as yourself. What have you seen happen within the last 5-10 years? Is it because I've seen a very strong demand for that, and that's why I was so excited to chat with you, because you're a very talented young lady. And how do you see that right now? How do you see it the last 10 years, and where do you see it going in the future?
Well, thank you. I think in the past, it was a lot more unusual to have a female vocalist, especially in the metal band, because for so long it has been, a man's world here in heavy metal. But I think especially the last 5 years, there has been a lot of newer bands with strong female vocalists doing more than just the opera thing. And, of course, like gothic opera lady vocalist in a symphonic metal band is like fantastic, and it was popular for a reason, and it still is popular for a reason. But I think in the last 5 years and moving forward, I think there have been more and more of us women who do things vocally differently than has been done, that I'm hoping that eventually we can lose the female-fronted tag entirely and just be metal vocalists or metal bands instead of female-fronted metal.
Well, I think, writing the kind of music that you write and putting it out there, I think it takes a lot of guts, the way you did it, and the way the album was engineered. A lot of symphonic metal bands, they produce material in that way, but you always end up with a product where it becomes oversaturated with either synth or an orchestra. It always goes at the expense of a particular instrument. And I know with symphonic metal and the engineering process, it's very, very difficult, and it could be challenging. How did you guys get through that? How was that for you? Describe it a little bit.
You mean like including the orchestra and that kind of thing?
Mixing that in.
Okay.
And the thing I loved about it is I could hear these wonderful additions, and I could hear the guitars beautifully. The guitars sounded amazing, and it just it wasn't just oversaturated. Neither instrument was oversaturating each other, and it sounded really great.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm so glad. From the day that Jack and I met and started working together, we wanted. My issue with a lot of symphonic metal bands is that there are no guitar solos,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a girl who really likes guitar solos. I always want to have a really talented, flashy guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm flashy about my orchestrations. So Jack and I try to write in a way that our parts like complement each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll write special hooks, but then when he goes to take a solo, I'll always make sure that there is room for him to take a solo, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll write, very simple, like, choir pads and maybe, like, string pads instead of, like, here's the violin part, here's the viola part, here's the cello part, here's the bass part, here's the French horn part, here's, like, all of these things. And so, just as a side note, I have to mention that I feel super bad for Sasha, who makes the album, because he had to deal with my absolutely fucking ridiculous arrangements. But he dealt with them beautifully, and I couldn't have asked for better.
Well, I couldn't agree more. It was very beautifully done. Two of my favorite songs on this record, the 9th and 10th track, The Paradox and Serenity. I really love how those songs thematically kind of blend together. What was going through your mind when you were writing Serenity? That's such a fantastic song.
Thank you. Let's see. It was written in maybe 3 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
I had just been turned on to Insomnia, so I wanted some kind of riff-based song, the way they write. This was a little bit after we had opened for them in 2015. But so that happened, and I had also separately written the instrumental orchestral version of the chorus, just in a very like dark and sort of melancholic moment, I guess. And so these two things came together, and then I think at one point at like 5 in the morning when I couldn't go to sleep, I just thought, fuck it, I'm going to work on some lyrics.
Right.
And the lyrics were born.
Oh.
And it's kind of like about searching for that thing that makes you feel alive again, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, you have to be, without a doubt, I mean, of all the artists that I've had the privilege of speaking with, I think you are definitely, thus far, the most virtuose that I've been able to talk to. Tell me who some of your influences were.
My influences vocally,
Mm-hmm.
Shaggrath from Dimmu Borgir, Rob Halford, obviously from Judas Priest, Adam Lambert, actually.
Oh, no kidding.
I love him. Roy Collins, I worship the ground he walks on. Compositionally, I would say Tomas Holopainen, Francesco Farini from Flesh God of Hans Zimmer.
Do you delve in any of the? Can you name any classical composers that may have shaped the way you write music?
Chopin and Edward Elgar. Yes.
Wow. I can really hear that on this record. That is so cool.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you could hear it.
It's awesome.
I have been obsessed with Edward Elgar's Opus 70, Salisbury, because when especially the story behind it, where he went to go write, the sigh of love or the breath of love or something, and it turned out to be this enormously profoundly melancholy piece, and with every string swell, it's as if you could feel these pangs in your heart of just pain, and I think that's fantastic, and I always strive to achieve something like that.
Well, yeah, I'm the same way. When I'm listening to the classical stuff, I go for example, Rachmaninoff's piano concertos. I only listen to the minor stuff, which I think was 3 and 4.
Me too.
I'm the guy who has Mozart's Requiem, on blast when I'm trying to decompress,
Yeah.
So
we're definitely similar.
So I definitely feel that. I want to thank you so much for spending time with me. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the world?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for being interested in the record. But I guess anyone reading or listening, I really hope that you will listen to the record front to back, even just once, because to me it is basically one piece of music, and I think that's the best way to really enjoy and like find all of the little Easter eggs that we wrote into it, and all of the melodic references, and I think that's the best way to enjoy it. But yes, I think that's, and of course, thank you for always supporting us. And
okay, and it's Adriana, right?
Adrienne.
Okay.
Like, yo, Adrienne.
Yo, Adrienne. That was my mother's favorite movie too. Anyway, listen, I'm talking with Adrienne of Seven Spires. She is the composer, and she is the lead vocalist for this band. Fantastic band. Listen, when you guys run through the States, please come to Kansas City so we can hang out.
Absolutely. Would love to.
All right. Thank you, ma'am, and you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.